Biju Patnaik University of Technology, Odisha, India in 2010. The MTech degree in Computer Science and Engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, India in 2013, and the PhD degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Patna, India in 2019. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Design and Manufacturing, IIITDM, Kanchipuram, Chennai, India. Before that, he was working as an assistant professor at Bennett University, Times of India Group, Manipal University, Jaipur, and BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus. His research interests include cybersecurity issues in IoT and cloud computing, applied cryptography, multimedia encryption techniques, and blockchain technology. He has published many conferences indexed in core ranking and many journals of international repute, including IEEE Transactions, Springer. Besides, he served as a reviewer of many IEEE Transactions, Journal of Elsevier, and Springer. Currently, he is handling a Data Security Council of India DSCI sponsored project titled Development of Lightweight Image Encryption Techniques for Cloud-Enabled IoT Applications Using Chaotic Systems as principal investigator. He is a member of IEEE and ACM. During his PhD tenure, he was awarded for achieving first position in the technical poster competition during Global Conference on Cyberspace 2017, organized by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Also, he has received third prize for the Lance Stafford Larson Writing Award for graduate students from IEEE Computer Society in the year 2018. With this introduction, I would like to welcome Dr. Sanjeet Kumar Nayak for the today's session. Sir, if you are here, I would like to hand over this session to you.
Yeah, thank you, Hers. Thank you for your kind words. Okay, let me share my screen. So I believe my screen is visible. Hers, can you please confirm? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Visible? Okay, yeah. Fine. Okay. Okay, so good morning, my dear participants. I hope all of you by this time know me. Today, what I will do is I will give a brief introduction of what is cloud storage, how can we store data in the cloud, and then what are the different security issues involved in this that we are going to discuss. And I will give you a research direction. I mean, how we will start with a small problem, then we will a little bit give more go towards little bit more complex problem, and we will see how we can give a complete solution which will cover all aspects of a problem domain. Okay, so let's start today's talk. So in 2019, Mukesh Ambani ji, he told that data is the new oil. So nowadays, anybody who is having more data, he is more rich. Nowadays, people are not counting how many money you have, how much money, how much gold you have. That people are not counting. They are counting how much data you have. Okay. I think before 2-3 days, yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a problem in WhatsApp, Facebook. So we both started stopping for around 5 to 6 hours, and in that during that period, Facebook CEO, he loses so much of worth of money. So why that happened? Because due to some advertisement they get money, and because this WhatsApp, Facebook shut down, he didn't get the money. So nowadays, what is happening? Who is having data? They are more rich, they are more powerful, people are saying, and that's what Mukesh Ambani ji told in the year 2019. So now what I will do, I will just give few questions, so you can mention the response in the chat. And I will ask few more questions also during this talk so that you can answer those questions so that it will be more interactive. So now I will give 5 questions related to data. Okay, I think maybe all of you know this, but still just to give you a clear life cycle of the data, what is happening, what we are doing with the data. So I kept 5 questions, and here you can see. So please write in the chat box, how do we get the data? Do we have any devices, or how do we get the data? Anybody? Yeah, good. Sensors, somebody wrote. Yeah, please write in the chat so that I will know from where we get the data. Only one participant responded. Cards, okay, good. IoT devices, yeah, social networking apps, users, yes, okay. Yeah, many places are there from where we get the data. Yeah, good, very good. Okay, so we get the data through different sources. Okay, and most of the data we collect using what? IoT sensors. Okay, nowadays people are coming up with so many technologies so that they will collect the data, and there are different sources are there from where people collect the data. And the main research challenge is here, when we need to collect the data, how can we collect the data with minimum number of sensors? That is what people are working on. We will collect maximum amount of data using minimum number of sensors. This is what people are trying to do. And there are many other sources, like many people mentioned that we have servers, there are ID cards, a lot of things are there. But most of the times nowadays, whenever we are talking about 5G technology, internet of everything, when it will come, then people will have maximum sensors around us, and using these sensors we are going to collect the data. So main focus is how to collect maximum amount of data using minimum number of sensors. That is what people are focusing on. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. So now we have collected the data. Okay, now we have this data that is collected from the sensors, but the sensors devices don't have sufficient amount of computation power, computation resources. They don't have. Then what do? We need to communicate. How can we communicate them? What's your thought? Gateway, okay. Any other thing? Yeah, gateway is the correct. So we need some networking technologies. Okay, yes, cloud we will use. Correct, we will use cloud to store. Correct. Okay, so that I will come to the next question. So first, what we will do, we need to communicate. Where we need to communicate? We need to communicate it into the cloud. Okay, but for that we need some networking mechanism. Okay, and this is again a big challenge. Every time network may not be free. So how can you efficiently utilize? How can you change the? How can you use the different channels efficiently so that every time your network will be busy in communicating the data? Okay, so there are different things that need to be explored. How we can communicate the data using the network. This is the second thing that people are exploring related to data. Now, the third thing I already told, it is where the data will be managed. Nowadays, we are talking about cloud computing. So in the cloud, we will store the data, and yes, very good. In the cloud, we are going to store the data. Why we are going for cloud? Because of many advantages that we get from cloud. First advantage is what? We can sync our data. Data can be synced. Whether you go to your mobile device, you go to some other place, you will get the same data. Whether it is your laptop or desktop, everywhere you will get it. Then accessibility is there, cost saving is there. Suppose I am starting my new company and I don't have sufficient amount of money so that I can purchase hardware, I can purchase software. All these things I cannot do because initial investment will be much more. Okay, that is capital expenditure, we say, that will be very much. So what we do, people starts purchasing computation resources from cloud, and they pay as per their use. Yes, okay, so capex cost is too much, so that's why people are going for cloud. So therefore nowadays people are storing their data in the cloud. So this is the third thing. Then the fourth thing, why we are storing the data in the cloud? What do you think? Why we are storing? I mean, by storing the data, what we are achieving? What is your response to this question? To perform computation, okay. Anybody else? Analytics, yes, good. Analytics, we are storing the data to perform different analysis on the data, prediction on the data. Very good. Yeah, so this data, what is happening with this data? Whenever we are storing the data in the cloud, then we want to learn something from the data, some pattern we want to learn, and that pattern will help us in future. Suppose for the time being, I am storing the weather information of certain city. Okay, let us suppose I am storing the weather information of certain city. If I am storing, I have stored for around, let us suppose 10 years old data, then what I can do, I can use some machine learning technique. I can predict the data. From the data I can predict what will happen in the near future. Okay, so those things I can predict. So therefore it is not only for the storage purpose we are using, or we are storing the data to do some analytics on the data, and that is the important aspect of storing the data in the cloud. And for that we have different machine learning techniques. There are different techniques are also available, but here I wrote machine learning techniques. And now let us come to the last question. So how to secure the data transmission and storage? So this is where I will focus, because everywhere you see that IoT data, IoT sensors will collect the data using, then we will use some communication method. Then what we will do, we will store it in the cloud, we will do some machine learning. But in fact, if the data is not correct, or it has been tampered in the during the process, then it will be a challenging. Okay, so therefore we need to use some cryptographic techniques so that we can encrypt the data and we can get the correct data. I mean, there is no change in the data. So therefore we need to use some techniques so that data can be securely transmitted and can be stored in the cloud. So these are the 5 questions, or rather I can say 5 important questions. These are not all questions which is related to data. So again, just to summarize, we will collect the data using sensor devices, then we will transmit the data using some networking protocol. Where we will transmit it into the cloud storage. And why we are transmitting? Because we want to learn something from the data for the benefit of the humans. Then how we can securely transmit the data using cloud storage, or in how we can securely transmit the data to cloud using some cryptographic technique, or there are blockchain also now it is coming for integrity purpose. Okay, now I hope all of you know about this, what is cloud storage and why we are going. I think all of us who are attending this meeting, everybody is using cloud storage. There is no doubt in this. So just to give a brief overview, what is cloud storage? It is a cloud computing model where data is stored in the remote server. The server is not controlled by us. It is not with us. It is controlled by somebody. Okay, somebody else is controlling this, like Zoom is cloud, somebody wrote. Okay, so it is not maintained by us. What is happening? Everything is stored in some other server. Okay, then is it managed by me? No. Data is mine. Who is managing? Cloud server is managing. What should happen? Whenever data is mine, I should manage. That is the ideal scenario, so that I can manage the data, who is accessing the data, who is tampering with the data, all things I can manage. But that is not happening, and we are storing the data in the cloud, which is in a remote server. Okay, so therefore there are certain concerns that come whenever we are storing the data in the cloud, and that we are going to see. And we can access it from anywhere using the internet. Okay, and these are some popular cloud storage services like iCloud, Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Cloud Platform, Simple Storage Service. Okay, these are some popular cloud storage. Okay, these things I already told. What are the advantages we are getting from the cloud? Like, one is cost saving. We can save our capital expenditure because of cloud storage. Then we can sync our data. So whatever I will write in a Word document that is stored in the cloud, or any photo, if I will do some changes, that will reflect to other places where I can also access. Okay, so if I will give some sharing access to my friend, he can also see the data. Okay, that's why it is very much helpful, and sharing is very much helpful whenever we are using cloud storage. Otherwise, what will happen? I will do whatever changes I want to do. I will save it in a pen drive, then I will give the pen drive to my friend, and he will open it in his system, and it is time consuming. Okay, nowadays, because of this cloud storage, we can share it, we can sync it at the same time. Okay, and we can access it anytime. Okay, that's the beauty of cloud storage. So now let us see one demo. Okay, so I will explain you how can we store the data in the Amazon AWS. Okay, so please see this. So what I did, I opened this AWS management console. So if you will go to Amazon AWS, then, and if you will log in, then you will get a screen like this. Okay, here you will get all the services starting from EC2 service, then storage service. Okay, blockchain. If you want to do any applications, they have a lot of applications, and to create a account on AWS, you need a credit card information. Okay, and they will charge, I think, 1 or 2 rupees just to check the validity of the credit card, and they will give you around 750 hours of free for 1 year. 750 hours you can use for free. After that, they will charge money based on your use, because it is not a free system. So and we know how much we use, we have to pay. This is what the fundamental aspects of cloud computing. So whatever data you will store, how much duration you will store, everything they will collect, and they have some with their business model, and using that they will calculate what is your total amount. At the end, they will send you total amount to your account, and you need to pay the bill. Okay, so those who don't have any account in AWS, maybe you can open your account and you can start doing experimentation with this. So let us discuss how can we create one EC2 instance. Okay, so here, if I will click on launch instance, then one window will come. Here, first, what I need to do, I need to choose the Amazon machine image. It is nothing but exact equivalent of operating system. So here in our system, what is happening? We have operating system who manages everything. It is just like a middleman between the hardware and the user. Similarly, whenever we are going for cloud system, there also we need an operating system. And who does that? This is the Amazon machine image. Okay, so here there are different varieties. Okay, like Mac OS is there. If you want to use Mac OS, you can use this. If you want to use Ubuntu, you can use Ubuntu. There are different for deep learning applications. If you need, you can use. There are some they provided some libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch, which is very much useful in deep learning. You will get those things. Okay, there are a lot of things available. Based on your applications, you can choose what is the Amazon machine image you need. There are a lot of varieties. So for this demo purpose, what I am doing, and my account is also a free account, so I cannot use which are not free. So I will choose this Ubuntu server. Okay, so once I choose Amazon machine image, then what it will do, it will ask me for how many virtual CPUs I need, what is the amount of memory I need, all these things they will ask me. And for that, they have different types. Okay, like T2.micro. This is a free version which I can use. Rest all are paid versions. Okay, like if I will go on moving towards downwards, then you can see 36 virtual CPUs are here, and 60, we have around 60 GB of memory. So how much you need, they will give 72 CPUs, 144 GB of memory. So based on your requirement, you can ask them. And if I will go to last portion, then there you can see 768 GB of memory, 96 processors. So a lot of options are there, a lot of varieties are there. So whatever is your requirement, you can choose the corresponding one. Okay, so let us choose this T2.micro and move forward. Here nothing to do. Then here you can choose how much storage you need. Okay, so for the free trial version, they are giving storage up to a maximum of 30 GB. Okay, but if you will pay money, then you can have more amount of storage. Okay, next thing is very important. So here we need to configure the security group. That means what kind of traffic we want to allow to our cloud system. Okay, so here I have already prepared one security group where we need to provide what are the protocols, what are the connections that we want to allow, and from which address we want to allow. Okay, so those kind of restrictions we can put here, whether we will allow HTTP, whether we will allow HTTPS, all these kind of things we can write it in security group. Okay, once this thing is done, then you will go to review and launch option. So here it will give you all the summary, what are the things that we saw in last 5 to 10 minutes. So first we need to choose what is the Amazon machine image, that is nothing but just like your operating system. Then we have this instance type. Okay, this is how many virtual CPUs I need, what is the size of the memory, all these things we will choose. Okay, T2.micro is the instance type, and similarly based on our requirement we can choose different instance. Okay, then what is this security group? I already told, this is what kind of traffic I want to allow to my cloud instance that I am creating. Okay, whether I will allow all the HTTP protocol or HTTPS, whether I want to restrict to a particular range of IP address, all these things we can mention here. Then how much storage we need, that thing also we can specify here in the storage part. Okay, so with this I believe we can create a Amazon machine virtual machine. Okay, then this is very important. Now this is what is happening here. We are creating a Amazon EC2 instance in some server, that is Amazon server. Now that we need to connect from where? We need to connect it from our system. How can I connect it? We need a key pair here. Okay, so therefore what Amazon is doing, Amazon is creating a key pair. There is a key pair means there will be a public key and there is a private key, and using private key I need to access to my Amazon EC2 instance. Without that private key I cannot access. And how Amazon is knowing that it is the same person with the same keys connecting to me? It will have the corresponding public key. So that is what is the beauty of public key cryptography. The person who is having the private key, they can find that whether this is the right person or not if somebody is having the public key. Okay, that is what we learned in, I think, second talk of this FDP. So whenever we are encrypting, what we did, we will encrypt it using, let us suppose, private key of the recipient, then what will happen? The corresponding person can decrypt it. Okay, so this is what we learned. So similarly here also Amazon is using the same thing for us, and it is providing the key. So now, because I have already downloaded my key corresponding to this Sanjeet demo, okay, I hope it is visible. So then I have already downloaded the corresponding private key, and that's why I acknowledge that I have access to the corresponding private key. If you don't have any private key, if you want to create a new pair, then it will ask you to download. Okay, you can give a name and you can download the key pair. Okay, whatever key you want. Okay, so proceed with an existing key pair, and I will give the corresponding key that I have, and I will acknowledge it. Then I will create on launch instance. So what it will do now, it will launch the instance. Okay, so it will create the instance. It will take some time. In between, if you have any questions, you can ask any questions. So it will take some time to create, then we will show you how to store the data here. Anybody, any questions till now?
Yes, sir, good morning.
Yeah, yes, good morning.
My question is that as you are saying, it is for the public key cryptography key creating. So it's for symmetric cryptography, the key will be created?
No, see here what is happening. We are using a public key cryptographic system to create the key. Once the key is created, then what I will do, if I want to share with you, then I will give the key to you. Okay, that is one thing, one way we can do. Other thing is you can share the data with the corresponding person with some access control mechanism. Yes, that is other thing. Two things are there. So if you want to, let us suppose I know you personally, let us suppose, then I can share the key, you can connect to the cloud server, you can access the data. That is one thing. That is the assumption of symmetric key cryptography. We assume that already two persons, they know how to share the key. Okay, we assume that key is already shared. But the other thing is, if you want to share the data only with some particular persons, you store the data, then you can apply some access control mechanism so that they will access it. So let us suppose whether you want to give read access, whether you want to give write access, whatever access you want to do, corresponding rule if you will write, then they can access it. So this is the two solutions which people can do.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, correct. Amazon is generating. Yeah, correct. Okay, so yes, let me check whether, yeah, it's still they are creating. Okay, so we got our data. So here you see there are two things that is very important whenever, if you will see the properties of EC2 instance. What are the important thing? First one is IPv4 DNS. Okay, this is very important. This DNS I need to use while connecting with this cloud server. Okay, this is very important. And once it is connected, then I will get this IPv4 address. That is the private IPv4 address. Okay, so now let us see and try to connect. Okay, so I hope this is visible. Okay, so what I will do is I will write this statement, and here what I need to do, I need to change the DNS. Okay, because it is already changed. So I will copy this public IPv4 DNS and I will paste it here. Okay, so see what is happening here. This is SSH connection I want to do. I am providing my private key here. Okay, and where it is stored in my desktop. Okay, so no need to give any other path. This is sanjeetdemo.pem. This is the private key that I have. Then along with this, what I am giving, I am providing the username, that is Ubuntu @ EC2 hyphen, this is the DNS name. Okay, I collected the same DNS name that was there in my EC2 instance. So then what I will do, I will put enter. Okay, so then it will ask, are you sure you want to connect? I will write yes. Then after this, it will start connecting to my cloud instance that I have created in Amazon. Now, if you will see the IP address here, it is 172.31.28.91 and 172.31.28.91. It is the same private IP address that is given by this. Okay, now using this, I can do whatever I want to do. Now I have connected to my cloud server and I can connect or I can write whatever I want to do. Let us see if anything is there. No data is there. Let me create one folder inside this. Okay, let us see whether the folder is created or not. Yes, the folder is created. Let me go inside the folder and let me see, is there anything? No, there is nothing inside the folder. Okay, so let us try to transfer some data inside this folder and let us try to do some communication. Okay, so copying of files, let us do. Okay, so what I will do, I will write exit. Okay, so now I have come out of my cloud connection. This is how we will connect. Again, just to repeat what I did, you write the SSH connection, then you need to provide the private key. Otherwise, you cannot connect. The same private key that is and the corresponding public key is available with the Amazon. Okay, same you need to write. Then you need to give, this is very important, this is the DNS name. That is what you need to give. Okay, so this is what is this is how we will connect. Now let us see how can we transfer some file. So I have hello1.c. This is my file I have already created, and this file is available in my desktop. Then what I am doing, this is secure copy I am doing, and the same thing, Ubuntu @ this, what is there, and after this signifies the root, and inside the root I have a Sanjeet folder. Inside that folder I need to copy this file. Okay, this is what is the syntax. Then if I will put enter, it will ask password, and I need to give the password of my system, and I think it will not do because I didn't change the DNS name. It is the old one, so I need to copy the new DNS. Okay, so like this you can do. So what you need to do, you need to first create the cloud instance in the Amazon. Once it is created, then what you need to do, you need to copy the DNS name, as well as before that you need to have the key. If you don't have the key pair, then you cannot connect to your cloud instance. Of course, you can create cloud instance without using key. That is one way, but in that way it will not be secure. Okay, anybody who is having the DNS name, they can access it. Okay, that's why. So therefore what I will do is I will just wait for some time, then we will connect it using this. Maybe, okay, so lost connection. Okay, this is the one that we just created. Okay, then here what I will write, Sanjeev. Okay, this is the folder. So what is happening, I am giving the private key here, then the file that I want to transfer. Okay, hello1.c, this is the username, and the DNS name I need to give here, and the path inside that. Then I will press enter. Then again it is asking, are you sure? Yes, I will write. Then what it will do, it will show me that hello1.c is successfully transferred. Okay, now we need to check whether it is transferred to that instance or not. So for that, what I need to do, I need to go to that cloud instance and I need to check. Okay, again, I need to write SSH connection, give the private key, and I will connect. So after connecting, this is the second time I am connecting, so it is not asking for any confirmation. Let us see. Okay, so I will write ls, then cd Sanjeet. Okay, then write ls. Okay, now you can see this hello1.c, this file is already there. Okay, you can see this file also. Okay, this is the file I wrote. Okay, so like this we can transfer the file to any cloud instance, and this is only for file transfer. If you want to do any operations from the user, and if you want to do any kinds of operation, you can do it in the cloud. Like this way you can do it. Okay, so any doubt in this transfer, how to transfer the file, and you can practice this. Okay, like this way you can transfer your data to the cloud, and then whatever operations you want to do in the cloud, you can do it. Okay, so before moving to the next topic in my talk, I need to delete this instance because otherwise it will charge me. Okay, so I have created long back this Amazon instance, this Amazon account. Already 1 year is over. So before going to the presentation, I need to terminate the instance. Okay, otherwise they will charge money. So like this way you can create your instance, do operations that you want to do in the cloud, and you can explore other options are also. Okay, so there is another simple storage option is also there, where we can store the data. Just now somebody asked me, how can we give the access control? There also we can see, okay, how can we give access control to this data, so that anybody with URL, anybody with some specific key, they can access all these things. We can do it here. Okay, and there are like, even if your 1 year is expired, there are some certain certain events that AWS conducts throughout the year. One is Awesome Day. Okay, AWS OME, this is what they do. You can watch out for this event. If you will attend all the sessions of this event, they will give you around $25 of credit. There are different things they are doing throughout the year. You can find 4 or 5 sessions, and if you will attend those, lectures, then you will get the credit, and using that credit you can do whatever operations you want to do in the Amazon. Okay, so this is how we can transfer data to the cloud. How can we store the data? How can we retrieve the data? Again, for retrieving the data which is stored in the cloud, similarly we have a command. Okay, that is the other way we need to write. Okay, like SCP. This is first I need to give the public DNS name. In that DNS name, which file I want to download, and from where I will store in my system. Okay, that is what we need to mention here. But this is how we will connect to the cloud, and how we can store the data in the cloud. This is how we will use cloud storage. Okay, so then I will move on to my topic. Okay, so what is the issues with cloud? So before moving that, this is just a very basic thing that I want to tell you. We have a CIA model that stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And these are the solutions to different problems. Okay, so suppose we want to prevent unauthorized disclosure of information, then what we need to do? We need to provide confidentiality to the data. Suppose we want, if somebody is changing the data, okay, if somebody is changing the data, then it is an integrity problem. Okay, so we need to check what is the integrity. how can we secure the integrity, how can we preserve integrity. Then sometimes what happens, people flood the network, and you cannot access the resource. Like yesterday Sai Satish was talking about that. Okay, so if so many people are storing the data in the database, then others cannot access. Okay, so there are some bandwidth. So therefore, those kinds of, to prevent those, what we need to do, we need to check the IP addresses. If from a particular IP address multiple number of connections are coming, we need to stop that. Okay, so this is all about your CIA model, what we need to do. Okay, so basically I will give you one scenario here. So here what we are doing, there is a data owner, and this data owner, what it will do, it will store some data into the cloud, and from there we are accessing the data. Some data users are there who will access this data. If this is the scenario that is happening, then the data we are not encrypting, we are simply in the plain text the data we are transferring. If such is the scenario, then privacy of the data may get lost. Okay, so people who are available in the network, they can see the data, even if cloud can see our data. Why? Because this is not this is not our own system, this is somebody else's system we are using, and they can easily access this data. Okay, and therefore we need to protect our data. Okay, we need to protect our data, and whenever we want to protect our data, what we need to do as a solution, it is encryption. Okay, so we need to encrypt the data. So therefore, what is the problem here? The problem is privacy is getting lost. If we want to preserve the privacy, then encryption is required. So now what I will do, I will go through different scenario, different problems, and I will ask you for some solutions. Okay, so you need to provide the solutions. What is the solutions that we can incorporate in this place? You need to answer it in the chat, and then we will continue with some other thing. Okay, so before that, let me give you a brief introduction to how people have come up to support different countries have come up with different rules to protect the data of their countrymen. Okay, so this is one regulation, that is General Data Protection Regulation, which is passed by the European Union, okay, in the year 2018, and their main goal was to secure the data of the of their countrymen in the servers of the companies. So the company that the company who wants to store the data of any European Union persons, they need to follow these regulations. Okay, and they need to agree with all these articles. Okay, then only they can provide their service in their country. Nowadays, if you will see, I think 2-3 months ago, there was a big problem that was happening between Twitter and our ministry. Okay, why that was happening? Because of this data protection regulations. They were telling something, our ministry was not accepting that. Okay, if you want to provide service, you need to do this. Okay, you need to agree with this. That is what they were asking. So there are different articles. Okay, so here I have highlighted a few. There are many more available, and you can directly go to this. There is a website, I think, for this, where you can get all the data. Okay, so if you will go to General Data Protection, there are a lot of chapters, and in each chapter they provided different articles. Okay, what are the rules they need to follow, what are the things they need to obey, if they will not listen, what is the fine, how they will collect the fine, everything is mentioned here. Okay, so if you want, you can go through this website. So here I have highlighted only few things. First one is consent. So consent of the user is very much important, and this is mentioned in Article 7, 8, 9, and 22. So if you want to do anything with the user's data, you need to get the consent of the user. Then after this, what we need to do? We need to have a data protection officer. So this is what is the job of data protection officer. Data protection officer is the single point of contact if any user is complaining that his data is misused or his data is lost, then this person need to answer to that. So therefore, each and every company has to provide a data protection officer based on Article 37, 38, and 39. What is the role of data protection officer? Everything is mentioned there. Then data need to be encrypted. Okay. Even after encryption, even after user consent, if there is some misbehavior is done by the companies, then what will happen? They need to pay the fine, or they need to pay some penalty. And how much penalty? That is written. How much data is lost, how important that data was, everything will take into consideration, and people will impose the fine on that. Then last three are very important. First one is right of access. So suppose my data is stored in, let us suppose, Facebook. Now Facebook, let us suppose it wants to share my data with some third party, let us suppose Amazon, and then Facebook need to ask me before providing that to Amazon. So right, I will tell. It is not that Facebook will tell, decide the right. Then the next one is right to be informed. Okay, so even if any after providing several protections, even if this thing is happening, like data is getting deleted or some mischievous activities is happening or happened, then it is the duty of the service provider to provide the information, the correct information to the user. If they cannot provide, then again they will be penalized. So therefore, right to be informed is very much important. If you will see, there was a big problem in Dropbox. I think in 2016 or 15 it was detected. Somebody told Dropbox that delete my data, or they deleted the data. And in 2012, after 4 years, the same user, when he logged in again, he saw the same data that he asked or he deleted earlier. That means they are not deleting properly. They are still keeping the data. Therefore, whenever any user is saying right to be forgotten, or whenever any user is saying it has to be deleted, then they need to delete the data. Okay, so these are some regulations that they kept. For more details, you can go to this GDPR. Okay, this is a beautiful regulations that they prepared to protect the data of the individuals. And many companies who want to provide their service in European Union, they need to follow GDPR regulation. Okay, or compliance they need to do. Similarly, if you will come to Indian context, also in 2019, the then Minister of, I think he was Minister of IT. That time electronics and IT, that time he proposed this personal data protection bill in the Lok Sabha. And this is exact, most of the concept of personal data protection bill was derived from GDPR, and same thing that was happening. And those things in an Indian context they wrote. And if you want to visit this, there is also a website, and this link I have shared in the PPT. So here you can get all the details. Okay, like whatever things with respect to Indian context, limitation on purchase or processing of personal data, limitation on collection of personal data. Okay, lot of things, accountability, lot of things that they mentioned here. Different chapters are there. So you can just go through this website and you can get what, see here also they wrote data protection officer. So therefore our current government is also trying to protect the data of their country persons. Okay, so therefore these bills are very much important. So if you pass these bills, then the companies will not do their monopoly. They will have, there are some restrictions, there are some governance. If they are not listening to the government, then you can impose some penalty. Okay, that is the scenario I was mentioning during the initial time of my talk, where there was a fight going on between the Indian government and Twitter. Okay, so this is what is again the same. There are different chapters are available, and corresponding to that different things like data protection officer we have, then penalties are there. All these things are available in Indian version of personal data protection bill. Now, in what our government is also doing, they are also very much concerned about the cyber security issues. They are taking proactive actions and starting different policies to secure the cyberspace of our country. So therefore, if you will see in, I think 2019 or 2020, in the Independence Day speech, our Honorable Prime Minister, he told that India will soon have a new cyber security policy. Okay, and they are trying to work on this. And in the same speech, he also mentioned that we will have a national digital health mission. He announces launch of national digital health mission, and using in that speech, he told that is on 2020 August 15. What he told that just 1 year back, he told that every individual will have a health ID based on the National Digital Health Mission, where what we will do, every individual will have a health ID, and using that ID, any person can collect, and any individual can store their health record in that data. And once that data is stored, anybody can access. Like let us suppose 2 years ago I was having some problem, I did some diagnosis, all these things. If we are storing it in a digital format, then there will be a advantage. What is the advantage? See, we are healthy persons, so there is no problem. But suppose somebody is suffering from some problem, then what will happen? Then those health data will become higher, or it will be a big book, and it is very difficult to carry. Okay, so therefore what is happening, if we will store it in the digital format, any other hospitals if we are going, we can easily access those. How is it secure to collect anyone's? Okay. Oh, okay. So see, it is like we need to give some access controls. That's what in the next slide I mentioned. So see, there are different stakeholder of our health data, like hospitals will be there, laboratories will be there, insurance companies will be there. So whatever access we want to give, how much access we want to give to the hospitals, how much access we want to give to the doctors, that much access we will not give to the insurance companies or pharmacies. So that's where cyber security will comes into play. Therefore, there is a very much need. There is a need to do some regulations while dealing with health data. And therefore, after doing all these deliberations for around 1 year, now if you will see, Indian government recently they launched this Ayushman Bharat digital mission. Okay, just I think 5-4 days before we start our FDP, and in that they announced that everyone will have a digital health ID and 14-digit digital health ID. So if you will go to this website, there you can see what are the things that they are facilitating. Okay. Yeah, Hers, what is your question? But the raw data will flow to the server of hospital, government, or any third party, even with any cyber security approach. Yes, the data will be with the hospitals, because see, the data is with the hospital, and then again we need to give some penalties or like whatever we are providing. So they need to listen to the government. If some hospitals is, let us suppose they are collaborating with some other third party and they are giving the data, then they should be penalized. Okay, so that is because my health data, like suppose my x-ray or something is there, we cannot understand those data, only doctors and hospitals can understand. Therefore they will store the data, and they will share the data with the consent of the person. That is what is done. So let us see what are the features now available with Health ID. So here, if you will see a digital health record, then voluntary opt-in. If you want to participate, you can participate. If you are thinking that it is not secure and let us see for some time, then I will start. Then you can opt later. Then whatever data you have, that you can also maintain. Okay, you can keep your data, whatever is there. Then there are different things, like you will give access to the doctors, and those records of the doctor will be verified. Okay, and it will be available throughout the country. So whatever data you put it from here, now anybody from Delhi, they can access it and they can check it. Then it is secure, built with the robust security and encryption mechanism, and no information is shared without your consent. So this is what that is claimed by this while designing. Okay, so later if some flaws are coming, then they will change it, but for the time being, this is what is proposed by the National Health Authority. Okay, so this is currently what our government did. They created Health ID, which 1 year back people proposed about this Health ID, and they are quite concerned about the health record of the data, and they are in fact doing some good work in providing security of the data. They have different signing MOUs with the hospitals, and they need to, if they want to participate in this National Health Authority or in this Health ID, if they want to access it, then they need to protect their data, and they need to protect the users' data. Without users' consent, they should not share with somebody else. Okay, this is what is happening till now. Okay, so this is all about your Ayushman Bharat Digital Health Mission. Okay. Okay. So any questions so far? Anybody? Any questions? No? Okay.
Sir.
Yeah, please.
Muralidhar, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, most of the sensitive information oriented services are not adopting cloud services, sir.
Yeah.
For instance, military services, though
yes.
it is having a lot of advantages and all, but as far as privacy concerns, still these cloud service providers are not able to give 100% assurance.
Yes. Yeah, 100% assurance is difficult, but still many are trying to do, and it is with us. Okay, so if we are confident, then only we will go for cloud. Otherwise, we should not go. Okay, so it is like whenever any cloud service we want to use, first we need to see whether it is providing security or not up to the requirement. So that is major concern. That's why many people are not opting for cloud whenever it is sensitive information. So that is what I am going to discuss in today's talk. So how can we will store our data, whatever operations we want to do on the data, that also we can do. All these things we can see. Okay, but still it is nowadays there are still people are thinking that it is not the right time to store sensitive data in the cloud, but still they are trying to convince that these are the security mechanisms that we are happening. But still in the internet we are seeing that this many records data are getting leaked. So this is a, I mean, police thief thing that is still happening. But yes, we should migrate, because there is a lot of advantage of using cloud service, and because many people are moving to the cloud, they will be benefited if they will incorporate the security mechanism. So many are trying, and maybe hopefully in the future we will have a better systems that we will have. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so now whatever introduction I gave, that is just to tell you what our different countries are doing and what our country is doing with respect to cyber security. All these things I discussed. Now let us come to this problem, okay, that I am focusing on. So this is a scenario. Consider this scenario. So here there are some cars are available, and these cars have, I am assuming they have some internet connectivity. Okay, so that what will happen, if they have internet connectivity, they can send the data to the cloud server. And why they will send the data? Okay, so they will send the data so that it will help the other incoming vehicles. How it can help? Okay, so that is what I am showing here. Let us suppose these are the three cars who are, let us suppose 300 400 meters ahead of the cars that is present here. They have AWS IoT. This is a gateway, and using this gateway they are transferring the data to the simple storage service. Okay, and what data they are transferring? They are transferring the data that is slippery level. Okay, this is a data, how much slippery the road is. There, let us assume there is a sensor who is collecting this data, and they are transferring the data using AWS IoT gateway to this simple storage. And then this slippery level, I am assuming that it is in the range from 0 to 1. If it is less than 0.5, that means we should, if everybody is sending less than 0.5, then we should send a green signal. Otherwise, we should send a red signal to the next incoming cars. Okay, so here what is happening? I collected all the data in the cloud, and now what cloud will do? It will do a operations over this data. Okay, that is a normal operation that it will do. What it will do? Like 0.5, 0.3, 0.8 divided by 3 it will do, and it will tell if it is coming 0.5, less than 0.5, it will send green signal, otherwise it will send a red signal. So in this case it is a red signal, so it will compute over the data, and it will send an alert message that there is some problem, you please take care. Okay, now let us consider, this is the scenario that is happening. Okay, now let us put a attacker in this scenario. Okay, and what this attacker is doing? This attacker, what it will do? It is changing the data, because the data it can see, it can know whether the data is less than 0.5 or more than 0.5, it will modify. Okay, so let us, it is 0.8, now it checks it is less than 0.8, so it will change it to 0.3. Then 0.6, it will change. Okay, then it will change to 0.2. Again, it is 0.3. It will see that, oh, it is less than 0.5. I will not change. It will simply send it to the simple storage service. Then it, now how Amazon will know the simple storage service? It is from the Amazon, so it will not know what has happened. Then what it will do? It will simply compute over the data, and now if it will compute over the data, then again it will get the value that is less than 0.5. If it is less than 0.5, it will send a green signal, that is, and in this signal everybody will go, this new incoming cars will go with full speed, and there will be a collision. Okay, So this is the scenario that I am giving. Now, as a simple solution, what we can tell, how can we provide a solution to this problem? Yeah, any thought on this? Anybody? You can write it in the chat. How can we solve this problem? Any solutions, like anything that is coming to your mind, you can write it in the chat. Anybody, any solution? Okay. Okay, so okay, let me tell the solution. Okay, so as a simple solution, what we can do is, so I will encrypt the data. Okay, so now before this, what I will do, I will share a key. Okay, so with the AWS, now AWS is having a key and this car is having a key. This car will lock this slippery level, okay, with the key, and it will transfer the data. This attacker, it is present here, it cannot see the data. Okay, if it cannot see the data, then what will happen? It cannot change. Okay, it will not think whether to change or not. It cannot think. Okay, because it will not know whether it is less than 0.5 or more than 0.5. So it will not change. Okay, simply we will get all the data. Now, because this is each and every car each has shared a key with the Amazon storage, then they will decrypt this, okay, with the key. Then now what will happen? This data, they will get it from this data. Amazon will open this simple storage service. It will open, it will see the data, it will compute over this data, okay, and then it will send the alert message again. Okay, it will send the alert message like this. This is what a simple solution we can propose. Okay, but does it solve the problem? Okay, if only providing this, we will get the solution or not? So in fact, we will not get the solution. Why? Because here I am allowing cloud to decrypt my data. Okay, if it is a sensitive data, then should I allow it? I should not allow, because here this is a slippery information level. So I can provide this information. Okay, I can, yeah, what cloud can do? Cloud cannot do anything by knowing the slippery level of the road. Okay, nothing it can know. But if cloud can decrypt the data and if it can see, then there is a problem. If the data is sensitive, then let us see a scenario like this. Okay, suppose these are some individuals, and these individuals, they have the ECG sensors already placed. Now what they are doing, it will collect the heart information of these individuals. Then in this scenario, can I share the data with the cloud? I should not share, because these are very much important data. These are sensitive data for me. Okay, if anybody is seeing this data, then they can do harmful activities. And if anybody knows that my heart is not working properly, they can come and attack during that time, and they can steal so many things from my room. Okay, so therefore what can happen? This kind of scenario, we should not allow cloud to decrypt our data. Even cloud also is a third party. Okay, so therefore we should not allow them to collect this data. And from cloud, doctor will access the data. Okay, right? Then in this case, what solution we can give? I do not want to give the access to the cloud to my data. Rather, I want to give the access to the doctor, but I want to transfer the data through the cloud. So how can I do that? So as a simple solution, what I can propose here, I will share a key with the doctor. Okay, so now this patient has shared a key. There is a shared key with this patient and this doctor. then this doctor and this patient, another key is shared. Now, if such is the scenario, then what will happen? Each patient, they will encrypt the data, okay, and they will share it to this cloud. Because it is encrypted, cloud cannot access the data, and then this doctor can decrypt the data. It will then give the whatever prescriptions it want to give, whatever suggestions it want to give to the individual, it will give. But now, if such is the case, then is it the complete solution? If I will give such scenario, then is it the complete solution? Okay, then this is what I told, we will encrypt and the correspondingly the doctor can decrypt. So is it a complete solution? In fact, it is not. What is the problem? Problem is, we are saying that we will store the data in the cloud and doctor will access. But can cloud do some computations over the data? Then you will ask me, sir, why do cloud need computations on the data? There is a scenario. I am showing that in the next slide. Now let us suppose this is the same example that I am giving, and now there is an NGO, okay, and this NGO wants to know the answer of this question. Okay, NGO wants to know the answer of this question. What is the question? Question is, how many percentage of people with normal cardiac behavior in the age group 20 to 35 present in this country or in this locality? This is a valid question, and cloud should answer this question, right? Cloud should answer this question. But if we are not giving the key to the cloud, can it answer? It cannot see the data, whether the ECG data provided by the individual is correct or not, whether it is having any problem or not. Okay, so that cloud cannot see. Now cloud cannot answer this question, and if we will go and ask to the doctor, doctor will beat, because you are simply wasting my time in these calculations. Okay, so therefore, how can we give a solution to these questions? What we want to do here, we want to preserve the privacy of the individual persons, as well as I want to answer these kind of questions. So how can I do that? Okay, so what is my objective? How to answer questions like this and while preserving privacy of the individuals. Okay, so here, just if I will remove the hospital parts and everything, then it reduces to this problem. What is the problem? The problem is, can we delegate the processing of data without giving away access to it? That means what? Data will be encrypted, and I want to do certain functions over the data. That means what? Here, encryption of A, this is the data that I already gave. Encryption of A is the data. But with this, what I want to do? No, what is this? Okay, so with this data, what I want to do, encryption of A, in this I want to do some functions over this data. Okay, how can I do some functions over this data? Okay, that is what we need to see, or we need to find a solution to this problem. So encryption of A is provided to us. After this encryption of A, I will give a function like the health data of each and individual person is stored in the cloud. Then the function, what is the function? Function is how many number of people who are having normal cardiac behavior. This is the question. Okay, this is the question that was there. Now what is happening? If encryption of A is there and there is a function on this, then cloud will do what? It will do a function over this encrypted data and it will send us back. And once we get the data, if I will decrypt that, okay, if I will decrypt that, I should get function on A. That means this encryption and decryption will get cancelled. Okay, that is what we need to see. And how can I get that? there is a beautiful technique that is available in cryptography, that is homomorphic encryption. Okay, I think most of you might have heard of this. So in homomorphic encryption, what is happening? So if there is some encrypted plain text, okay, plain text is encrypted, and if I will do some operations on that, and then if I will decrypt, I will get operations on plain text. Okay, so this is what we will get. And if I am getting this encryption on the encrypted data, if I will do some operations, and if then I will decrypt, I will get operations on the plain text. This is what I need to answer the questions. What is the data I have? I have the data that is health data. Now in that health data, I need encryption. So therefore I encrypted the data. Now what is the operations I want to do? I want to check how many people have normal caddic behavior. And then what I want to do, if I will decrypt, then I will get the answer, number of persons with normal caddic behavior. This is what I want to know. Okay, so this is the problem, or this is how I can solve the problem that I discussed in the last slide. Now if I will go deep into this, then I will give an analogy here. Okay, and what is the analogy I want to give here? That let us suppose Alice is there. Okay, so that you can understand what is homomorphic encryption here. I borrowed this slide from this link. Okay, so here if you will go, then Alice is there, and Alice has some raw materials. Okay, and if you will use these raw materials, then you can create a jewelry out of it. But then because these are precious raw materials, Alice thinks that whenever this person will come and prepare this jewelry, after preparation the person may take it, okay, may steal it. So therefore what Alice did, she come up with this solution. What she did, she purchased one box like this. What is this box? This box, there is a lock. Inside this, if I will put all these raw materials, okay, then what this person will do, this is a locked globe box. That means this person, when it will come for repair, he cannot take his hand inside this box. He can prepare whatever things he want to do, because this is a globe box. Okay, there is a globe is there, and using that only you need to prepare. You cannot take out all the things that is present inside this box. Now what will happen? This person will come, whatever he wants to do, he will do. He cannot take the jewelry. Okay, he cannot take the jewelry, and then he will go. Then after some time, Alice, what she will do, she will come and she will open and she will get the data. Okay, so this is what we are doing in homomorphic encryption. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply put my data in this. I will put a lock. Okay, then this person, that is cloud, it will do some operations on this data, and then the data can be taken out. Okay, this is just a idea. Okay, how can we understand what homomorphic encryption do? Like this, we can achieve the solution to the problem. So coming back to homomorphic encryption, there are two kinds of homomorphic encryption. What are they? One is additive homomorphic encryption, and another one is multiplicative homomorphic encryption. So additive homomorphic encryption means what? If I will give encryption of M1 and encryption of M2 to cloud, then cloud will do some operations on encryption of M1 and encryption of M2, and then whenever it will send, if I will decrypt that, I will get M1 plus M2. Okay, so what I am giving encryption of M1 and encryption of M2 to cloud. If I will give these two informations, to the cloud, then what cloud will do? Cloud will do some operations of this data, and then whenever it will decrypt, whenever we will get that data, and if we will decrypt, we will get M1 plus M2. Similarly, if I will go for multiplication operation, then also the same thing. Okay, here what will happen? I will send the encryption of M1 and I will send encryption of M2 to the cloud. Once these two data are available in the cloud, then cloud will do some operations over this data. Once these operations is done on the cloud, then if I will decrypt that corresponding data, I will get M1 cross M2. Okay, I will get M1 cross M2. So this is what is two different varieties of additive homomorphic encryption and multiplicative homomorphic encryption. Okay, now let us see one example on this. So a beautiful example of additive homomorphic encryption is RSA encryption, and this RSA encryption we saw in the in this FDP, I think in the second lecture. So there, what is happening? Encryption of M1 is M1 to the power E. Okay, E is the public key, M2 to the power E. So if I will do encryption of M1 into encryption of M2, then what will I get? M1 to the power E into M2 to the power E, and that is nothing but M1 into M2 to the power E. And if you will see this is of the form encryption of M1 into M2. If I will do encryption of M1 into M2, then what will happen? If I will do encryption of M1 into M2, then I will get M1 into M2 to the power E, because this is the format of RSA encryption, M1 to the power E. Okay, so that is what is happening here. Okay, so if I will do like this, then I will get the multiplicative homomorphic encryption. Okay, so let us see one example. Here I want to find the area. Okay, here this is a very simple problem. You can ask, sir, why calculating area you are sending it to the cloud? Okay, but I am giving just a toy example here. So I have width and height. Okay, width is equal to 7 and height is equal to 3. I want to find the area. I don't have sufficient computation power. I am sending it to the cloud to find the area, but I do not want to tell that my width is 7 and height is 3. I don't want to tell that. Then what will happen? How can I get the area without informing? So let us apply RSA homomorphic encryption. So here what will happen? First, I will encrypt my width, that is 7. So this is the equation using which we will encrypt, and my corresponding ciphertext is 2. Okay, let us think that my corresponding ciphertext is 2, corresponding to width, and corresponding to height it is 126. Then if I will provide this width and height, that is 2 and 126, this cloud server, it cannot know what is the value of height and width. Original value is 7 and 3, and we are providing 7 and 126. Now what it will do, it will simply multiply, that is 2 and 126. If it multiplies, then it will get 252. Okay, it will multiply 252, then we will get 252 here. Okay, that is area we will get. Once I will get the area, then what I will do, I will simply decrypt it. Okay, after getting the area, I will decrypt it. After decrypting, what will happen? After decrypting, I will get 21. And what is this 21? This 21 is nothing but 7 into 3. Okay, so like this, using RSA encryption, we can get how we can find what is the area of a rectangle. Okay, let us see another example, that is additive homomorphic encryption. So this Payeer crypto system, it supports additive homomorphic encryptions. I am not going into the detail. I will just explain you how this addition task is happening here. Okay, so see, the ciphertext is suppose we have two ciphertext based on this decryption and encryption. So encryption, what is the equation? G to the power m into r to the power n. R is a random number, mod n square. Okay, and if I will go in this way, then what will happen? G to the power ma, G to the power ma into Ra to the power n mod n square. Okay, and then Cb is what? G to the power mb into Rb to the power n mod n square. Okay, so this is what is happening in Ca and Cb. Okay, this is what is happening Ca and Cb. Now if I will multiply Ca and Cb, what will happen? G to the power ma and G to the power mb, this will be added. Okay, G to the power ma into G to the power mb is nothing but G to the power ma plus mb. And then here also Ra into Rb to the power n and mod n square. This is nothing but what? If you will convert it into the corresponding plain text, you will get nothing but ma plus mb. Okay, because this is our plain text. When ma is the plain text, this was my cipher text. So in the same format, I have ma plus mb I will get. So like this way, I can get the product of two cipher text who will give me the sum of the plain text upon decryption. Okay, so it will give me sum of the two plain text upon decryption. So here also I gave another example. Okay, in this example, what I want to tell, what is the perimeter of a triangle I want to find? Okay, perimeter of a triangle I want to find. How can I find it? So I will give three sides, that is side A, side B and side C, and I will encrypt them. Okay, so correspondingly I will get 2028 3468 1499. I did the calculation and I put it here using the Paylor crypto system only. So I just want to show you how we can achieve additive homomorphic encryption properties here. Then what I will do, I will give all the slides here. Okay, that is side A, side B and side C, 2048 3468 1499. Then what this person will do, this person will provide the data to this cloud server, and cloud server, what it will do, cloud server will multiply them. Okay, cloud server will multiply them. Then after multiplying, what will happen? After multiplying, we will get this data 105426222896. And once if I will decrypt this data using the Paylor crypto system, then I will get 18. Okay, I checked it. You can also work it out. You will get 18. And what is this 18? This is nothing but 7 plus 3 plus 8. Okay, like this we can give a solution to this problem. Okay, so like this we can give solution to this problem. Okay, so using homomorphic encryption, we can solve the problem that we came last time. Okay, in I think the last problem that where we discussed how can we solve that problem, we got that using homomorphic encryption we can solve this problem. But now the question is it solving the problem clearly? Is it solving the problem clearly? And it's not. What is the issue? If you will see, then I encrypted all the data using a same key. If it is, whether it is all the sides of the rectangle, whether it is height and width, if you will see, then I encrypted them using same key. Okay, I encrypted them using same key. Similarly, if you will come to this, here also I use the same key, but this may not happen in each and every scenario. Okay, this may not happen in each and every scenario. All the data owners may not share the common key. Like consider this example. Okay, I have 3 hospitals, and every hospitals they want to store their data in the cloud. Okay, and one NGO wants to know this question of this answer. That is, there are total number of patients that are available in the hospitals who are suffering from cancer or some other disease. Okay, let us suppose they are thinking this. Then do you think one hospital will tell to the other how many patients they are having? They will not, because this is again a business purpose. Okay, so nobody will tell how many patients they have. Even if they don't have any patient, they will not tell that we don't have any patients, otherwise there will be a bad reputation. Okay, even one hospital will not share with the other. So this is, if this is the scenario, then how can we solve? Okay, so then your homomorphic encryption solution will not work, because if you will go for the solution with homomorphic encryption, then you need to encrypt everything with the same key. Then all the Apollo hospital, then Kalinga hospital, everybody will, what they will do, they will encrypt it using their key. Okay, using their key. And if they will encrypt it using their key, then their own key, then how can we solve the problem? Okay, then how can we solve the problem? This is what we need to check. If each and individual data owner is encrypting their data with their own individual key, then how can we facilitate the homomorphic encryption feature in the cloud? Cloud wants to answer to these questions. At the same time, each and individual user wants to encrypt their data with their own individual key. They will not share with each other. Then how can we solve the problem? Okay, this is the last problem that I want to discuss. Okay, how can we solve this kind of problem? So if you will come up with this kind of problem, then this is the scenario. Okay, now I will remove the hospitals, all these things. I will simply keep data owner and I will tell. Okay, so if I will do like this, then data owner 1, data owner 2, data owner 3, and data owner n, everybody is having different data. Okay, so then they will, what they will do, then what they will do, they will encrypt their data with their own individual key. Okay, so encryption of pk1, okay, m1 is encrypted with pk1, okay, and then that is ciphertext 1. Then encryption of m2, it is again the public key of the second data owner, that is c2. Then public key of third data owner, it is pk3. Like this, n data they have encrypted. Okay, and then they have stored all the data in the cloud. And now cloud want to perform what? It want to perform some operations over this data. Okay, that is function of c1, c2, and cn. Okay, how can they perform these operations? Okay, this is what we want to see. So here what we need to do, we need to use another technique that is known as proxy re-encryption. Okay, so what is this proxy re-encryption? So proxy re-encryption, what is its job is, there will be a proxy, and what this proxy will do, this proxy will change one data which is encrypted with public key of Alice, will change with encryption of public key of Bob. So M, now it is encrypted with public key of A. Now this proxy, what it will do, it will convert it to data encrypted with public key of B. And in this conversion, during this conversion, proxy cannot see the data M. Okay, this is what we want. Okay, so these hospitals, they may not trust each other, but if I will keep a proxy or a trusted server, okay, or somebody with whom, or a government, somebody to whom they trust, okay, so then what they will do, or who can act as a middleman, no need to trust also. Okay, so what that middleman will do, it will simply convert the data, because this middleman cannot see the data, right? So therefore what they will do, they will convert their data to another data. Okay, the same data, it is changed from encrypted with one key to encrypted with other key. Okay, so that is what we need to incorporate to our solutions. Okay, now we will see how this will help our solution. So let us see. This is for that we need a proxy re-encryption scheme, and for that we propose a proxy re-encryption scheme. And in this re-encryption, we a re-encryption key is consisting of two parts. Okay, these are the two parts of the re-encryption key. And then Alice, what it will do, it will encrypt the data. Okay, so data consisting of three subparts. M alpha is the data, and these are the other parameters of the ciphertext. Then it will send it to the proxy. Then proxy, what it will do, it will do some operations with the data as well as the re-encryption key. And then whenever it will send the re-encryption data to this Bob, and Bob, whenever it will decrypt that data, okay, after this re-encryption, if it will decrypt, then it will get the data M alpha. Why it is able to decrypt it? Because what we are doing, we are converting one data which is encrypted with Alice key, we are doing it with Bob's key. Okay, we are transferring it. So similarly, what we can do, this is just a solution how we are achieving this proxy re-encryption key, how it is being generated. So first we will choose a random number, proxy will choose a random number, it will send it to Bob. Then Bob, what it will do, it will divide it with its private key. And then Alice, what it will do, it will multiply with its private key. So like this, I will get a data which is XC1 and XC2, XD1 and XD2. So like this, I will get. So this is the process of generation of the re-encryption key. So for the time being, you remember that we proposed a proxy re-encryption scheme, which will help us in evaluating or in solving the problem. Then this is again coming back to the problem. What was there? Each data owner have encrypted their data with their corresponding public key, and they shared the data to the cloud. Now cloud, what it will do, it will convert this data to a computation server is there. Okay, this is another server. So now data encrypted with each individual owner's key, we are converting that to data encrypted with each individual data encrypted with their public key to data encrypted with the computation server's key. So this is what we are generating. Then what is happening here, data which is encrypted with different key, now they change to data encrypted with one key. Okay, now we can perform the homomorphic encryption. So this is what we are doing. We are taking the help of proxy re-encryption to convert this data to a single key, and after that we are performing the homomorphic encryption, whether it is additive homomorphic encryption or multiplicative homomorphic encryption, and then we will get the result. And not only that, even if any function which is having both, okay, let us suppose consisting of multiplication as well as addition, then also we can able to do it. And if after computation the result, if anybody is asking what is y1 and y2, then again this, because this result is already in encrypted with the public key of computation server, now we need to convert it back to the data encrypted with the public key of this individual data owner. If we will not convert it, then this person cannot decrypt it. Okay, the data need to be encrypted with its public key. That is what we need to do. So there are two tasks where we need to use this proxy re-encryption. Okay, there are two tasks that we need to do. And for this, if I will go, then in 2013, there was a scheme by Peter et al. And what they did, they proposed a proxy re-encryption scheme and a homomorphic encryption scheme, by which what happened, this conversion for this conversion, what was happening, they need to send it to the computation server. So doing this conversion, they need to send it to the computation server, so that what will happen, this conversion will take, for if n data owners are participating in this, then they need to send it to this computation server. And if n data owners, order of n communication is required. Okay, similarly, if results is required by n data owner, then again n communications will be there. Okay, So therefore, cloud storage server sent to computation server to perform this task. Okay, this they need to do. Now here order of n communication is required. Here also order of n communication is required. Okay, now Wang et al, what they did, they modified the proxy re-encryption scheme and they achieved some improvement over the previous scheme. And what was the improvement? For doing this conversion, that is data encrypted with each individual data owner's key to data encrypted with public key of computation server, no need to send it to the computation server. Directly cloud can do this conversion. Okay, but unfortunately they couldn't do for this part. Okay, they couldn't do it for this part. Then what is happening?
Hello,
If
sir.
yes,
I have one doubt, sir.
yeah, please,
The paper which you are explaining,
yeah,
in the previous paper, CSS cloud server is transferring that encrypted to computation server so that computation server can compute there.
yeah,
But in the modified paper which you are explaining just right now, you have just explained that key in this paper they are not
sending,
communicating,
yeah,
not
yeah,
sending.
yes,
Then
how they
will
are doing.
how they are doing?
Yeah, so the thing is, it is like the trick is how you will generate the re-encryption key. Okay, the main important feature is how you are proposing your proxy re-encryption scheme so that you can do it. So if you will go to the details of the proxy
One more
re-encryption,
thing, sir.
yeah,
It
so
means that this CSS is performing the works of a computation server.
no, it is not performing the work of computation server. The work of computation server is here. Okay, that is whenever we want to perform the result, but conversion of data we do not need. Okay, and why it is not required? Because the beauty of the proxy re-encryption that is they propose. So if you will go into the proxy re-encryption scheme of this Wang et al scheme, so that's a proxy re-encryption technique. If you will use, then this conversion is only possible, and that who can do that? Cloud can do that. But if you will come back here, the reverse is not possible because the proxy re-encryption that they propose, it is unidirectional. Okay, that was the problem, and we found that problem and we proposed a proxy re-encryption which is bidirectional. Okay, so therefore this computation server only helps the cloud storage server in performing the computation. Okay, and other than this, the conversion of ciphertext that a computation server is not doing. Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay, fine. So this is the problem. Okay, so just go to this paper and see their proxy re-encryption scheme, you will get it. Okay, so then if I will move forward, then what will happen? Then we proposed a proxy re-encryption scheme which is bidirectional so that we could save both the communication cost. Here order of n communication cost, and here also order of n communication cost, we could save it. Okay, so that is what I highlighted in this talk. So like this way, if you will from a small problem, if you will go into dig into that problem, then you will come up with different issues, and those issues you need to solve it one by one. Okay, so that is what I highlighted you today. So I started with a very basic problem of this internet connected vehicles. There was privacy was not a problem, so I gave a solution. Then there was a problem when privacy comes into picture, then how can we do that? How can doctor answer that? Then again some problem came that this individual individual NGO want to know the answer, then how can we provide the solution? Then we told that each and every thing we will do homomorphic encryption and we will give the answer. But again, even after using homomorphic encryption, the problem is not solved because several data owners, they do not share key with each other. Okay, that is possible. again, we thought that we will use some proxy encryption and homomorphic encryption. We will combine and we will propose a solution. So this is what I want to highlight you in this talk. And there are different analysis. I'm not going into the detail of the security analysis in this, so you can refer our paper. But the results also you can see. Okay, so this is like our scheme takes less time as compared to the existing schemes. So what is the what is the takeaway from this? Okay, so now what I told that cloud is performing for us, it is performing some results on us, it is giving some result to us. So even after getting some results from the cloud, okay, even after getting some results from the cloud, how can we sure about that, whether the result is correct or not? Okay, so that is what I want to give a research direction. So here what I want to tell, so how can we verify whether the result that is returned by the cloud, that is correct? Okay, this is what we want to check. And here I explained only in the work that we did only for multiplication and addition operations. So somebody if wants to do some other operations, then also you can try. We are also trying for exponentiation operation, so you can work out on this. Okay, so these are the two directions that I'm giving here. And coming back to the conclusion, okay, so here what I want to conclude that, so we will not fear that our data will get leaked or something from the cloud, because it has some facilities. Rather than moving out from the cloud, we should explore how can we protect our data. Even if data is protected, we can do some operations over the data. Okay, that is what I showed you. We can do some operations over the data even if it is encrypted, and then we need to verify also. Okay, so that is another research directions that I will put in this talk. So with this I will, yeah, so currently also we are also exploring this blockchain. So if whether in verification how blockchain can help us. So tomorrow we have a talk on cyber security and blockchain. There you will get to know about details of this blockchain. Okay, so currently we are exploring this area also. And with this I will end my talk. And yeah, so thank you all. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Anybody, any questions? If you have, you can ask me. Or you can, if you want, you can write it in the chat box.
Sir, whatever protocols you have explained, sir,
Yeah.
the background mathematical theory depends on the hard problems, na?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Hard problem, it is like whether, so whatever we do in cryptography, it rely on the mechanism. Yeah, so it is like until unless somebody breaks that hard problem, you cannot break my scheme. That is what we saw. Okay. So that is what we saw. So this is the basic assumption. Based on that we are proposing. Okay, so somebody, if they can break the cryptographic hard problems, then all this scheme will not be secure. Okay, but because nobody has proved that this is not secure till now, so we are proposing based on that.
Okay, sir.
Hard problem. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Sir, but the computational complexity will be increased when you talk about proxy re-encryption.
Yeah. So computation complexity will increase. So that's what I told. So nowadays, suppose what I told, maybe whatever you highlighted is very good. So see, this is what I am saying, that my scheme is taking for this many number of data owners this much time. Okay, I am not saying this is optimal, or if somebody can come up with some scheme where it will take less time, then that is again appreciated. Okay, so that is what we do. Okay, somebody like Peter et al, what they did, they proposed a scheme, but there was some problem we identified. Then nowadays, because we need less computation, we should not compromise security. Okay, so that is, there are two pillars, like one is your security, one is your cost, one is your energy. So all these things, like in the yesterday's talk, I think Professor Dimansa, he was mentioning this thing. Okay, so how you need, you need to choose which one is your priority. Okay, so if you are going for lightweight devices, then you may think that let us reduce the security part, but we need to focus efficiency. Similarly, based on the applications, you can go here. My main goal is to provide security. It is not the computation. So therefore, this is the thing. Okay, if you want, you can go for a scheme where you want less security and as well as some less computation, you can achieve it. Yeah, it's, you can do.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Sir, one question.
Yeah, please, sir.
In your paper, you have proved your algorithm as a correctness proof, so that the algorithm provide the correct result, all the computation done the same, the message what we deliver, the what we are getting.
Yeah.
So is there any process for, or is there any method to doing the correctness proof?
Yeah, so correctness proof, yeah, it is just like, see, you need to choose in which model you want to prove the scheme is correct. Okay, it is not that every time. You need to first set your threat model. Okay, so what are the threats? So if you will go to paper, you will find we are assuming that this much is known to the attacker. Okay, we are assuming beyond this nothing is known to the attacker. So based on that assumptions, we are proposing a this correctness proof, and that correctness proof, there is no method. Based on your scheme, you need to model it. Okay, how you want to prove it. So that is a modeling. It is, there is a specific set of procedures that you need to follow step by step, but exactly it totally depend on your scheme. Okay, whatever your scheme, how can you do that? That is exactly, yeah.
So means we have to check our input output along with the intermediate results also.
Yes. So that is what, if you will see to our security proof, that is this theorem. I think I wrote a theorem here that maybe where, yeah, see here.
Yes.
Yeah, so see, both these two input, intermediate result and computation result. So it is computationally infeasible for them to distinguish them. So if anybody can know what is the intermediate result, then also it is a problem. So in intermediate also, nobody should know the result. So input you know, output you know. From that, can you detect? That is what you need to show.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. Okay, then thank you. And Hers, I think you shared the attendance sheet, no?
Yes, already shared.
Already shared, no? Okay.
So people will meet for the next session, right? At 1:45 p.m.
So yeah. So I request all of you to assemble for this session at 1:45. We will have our next session. Okay. So this change was there due to some sudden plan change. Okay. So the speaker for this session, he is having a meeting, urgent meeting. So he told me to take over the session. Okay. So that's why I took it. Okay, next session will be as per the timetable. Who is the speaker? They will only speak. Okay. Yeah. So
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you. Please share this attendance sheet, Harsh.
Already shared, I think.
No, some people are asking. Maybe some people might have missed it.
Okay.
Let's share it again. Okay. Okay.
Please find the attendance sheet on in the chat.
Yeah. I think some people who join, if they miss the meeting in between or if they left, they will not get the old chat, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's the reason I think some people are missing. Yeah.